Hey, hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm super happy to be here with you. It's been a while. I took a little bit of time off, and now we are ready for a new season here inside the Artist Global podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset of the artist. And particularly because I'm going to start a series of podcast episodes, hopefully one per week, starting today, in which I answer the question, what did I learn this week? Or what is one thing I've been thinking about this week? Looking back, or maybe two things or three things, but what is it that is on top of my head right now? What am I learning as a way of creating an audio journal of my experience, as an artist and curator and entrepreneur and gallery owner and all the things that I do, so that I can share that, first, as a thought and ideas verbally, and then share it with you, my friends here, my community, in the Art Next Level podcast. And so today, this is the first episode of that, and I'm super happy today to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset of the artist.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
All right, so let's talk about this. I've been thinking a lot about this particular subject in the last couple of weeks, entrepreneurial mindset of the artist. And by the way, sometimes I'll be doing this podcast on my car while going places or walking or whatnot. Today I'm actually here in my office next to my studio, and it's about midday on Friday. And I want to kind of record this first episode on this, thinking out loud what has been the conversation in my mind the last couple of weeks, which is the idea of becoming entrepreneurial or adapting a more, maybe not becoming, but adapting a more entrepreneurial mindset. I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago to do a workshop online that's called the Smart Artist Blueprint to Selling Art in a Challenging Market, which I'll share, when is the next one at the end of the podcast. But in this, workshop, which is a 2-session workshop, in the first one, I really, talk about the entrepreneurial mindset and what is that and how does that look like for the artist. And, I share a lot of different ideas that, for artists on what things we can do differently, to be able to move our careers, to create more sales, to, still in a challenging market, in a downturn economy, in an uncertain market, that we can still find opportunities, right? Opportunities that may be unique to this time. So, and then after that, which was this week, so that was last week, and this week, we had a second session, a follow-up with everybody that took the workshop. Then we went back and we discussed, ideas artists had an opportunity to share, a blueprint, like pretty much what was the idea based on last week's topic and presentation that I did, how would they apply it? How would they apply it to their art career? And it was really fun, really interesting. Then I would give my feedback and brainstorm, as how they can fine tune their ideas. So by the time we're done with these 2 sessions, artists can have something to work on, something to look forward, something to apply in their art career, in order to, promote their art, market their art, sell more art, even in a challenging market. So that's kind of been in my head. I've been thinking a lot about this. And, when I think about, the entrepreneurial mindset, who's an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is somebody who finds a problem in the marketplace. It comes out with a solution, which could be a service, a product, an idea, something of value that is going to help solve that problem for that particular niche, for that particular group of people. And once that problem is being solved, then if it's for example, a serial entrepreneur, will go on and find another problem that needs a solution, that needs to be solved. And, you have, thousands of samples of this. This is how most of the, big products, big services, big ideas take place. Think about things that have changed the whole world. PayPal, payment system. The problem was, how you collect payments online for the average person, without having to have some very expensive, robust system. Well, PayPal made it accessible to everyone, when you think about Airbnb, how you share your home or your empty room with a stranger. And that was the birth of, you know, Airbnb, right? We all have, you know, heard of it and or maybe perhaps even use Airbnb and many other problems that have, created solutions by the products or services that have been created around that. So that is the mind of the entrepreneur, right? And for us as artists, we have something that we create, which is the art. We are creators. And as creatives, we make the art itself. And being an artist entrepreneur, or what we would call an artrepreneur, kind of like this combination of the two, art and entrepreneur. Artrepreneur is a person who, or an artist, I should say, an artist who looks at his or her career with an entrepreneurial mindset. In other words, it's not just, okay, I'm just going to make the art. Hopefully good things happen. It's done. And pretty much wish for the best, which a lot of times that leads to frustration, leads to, discouragement, leads to feeling stuck in your art career. And because sometimes all you see is the things that are already as part of a particular system. For example, for us as artists, we only see, the option of, okay, my art is done, I'm gonna take it to a gallery, or I'm gonna look for more shows, or I'm gonna look for more call for artists. The typical scenarios that we have always used. But what happens when those scenarios no longer work as they used to, right? When you have disruptions, like when we had the pandemic, or now as we have economy that is sluggish, that is low, where a lot of people are not buying or not going to galleries. How do you get around that, right? The problem is, how do you take your art from your studio to the world? And that's what, the entrepreneurial mindset for the artist is super important. It's like identifying the problem. Okay, here's a problem. I have art in my studio. There's people who are interested, I'm sure, in my work. Gotta find those people. How do I do it? Or how do I find it when the traditional methods are no longer, working as they have in the past? Which could be something temporary or could be something permanent, where now we have to find new ways, new ideas. So, that is what has been occupying my mind for the last few weeks, and particularly the last 2 weeks, as I've been sharing with more artists, having that entrepreneurial mindset where we put our hats and say, okay, what else could I do? What else can I, do as an artist that is not the traditional thing, that can put me in a new position to find a new opportunity? And let me tell you, it's not easy, because there are three variables at play that are very important. And I talk about this in my workshop. Talk about, for example, who you are as an artist, right? Who you are is very important. We are all different artists. Who you are is important. Are you an emerging artist? Are you a mid-career? Are you established? Who knows you, your network, and so on. So who you are as an artist is super important. Where you are in the world is another variable, which is very important too. There's a difference between if you're in a big city or a small city, if you're in the United States, or if you're in India, or if you are in France, or you're in Mexico or Chile or Argentina, or kind of, there are variables that are very important to who you are and where you are in the world. And you have to think about those things, in order to find new ideas, new solutions. And then the third variable that is very important is what you make, right? We all, as artists, we all make different things. Some of you may do photography or painting or mixed media or installation work or performance art, whatever it is, right? In my case, I'm more of an acrylic based painter. And so what we all make is different, right? How accessible we make it to the world and to others, that's also differs. So those are the three big variables that when you come up with an idea, or you hear an idea that you might want to apply, you got to think about those three variables. Okay, who am I as an artist? What am I in the world? And what is it that I make? And say, how can I adapt this idea to work within these three variables? Because what may work for one artist in one part of the world may not work exactly the same way by another artist in the other side of the world. However, you know, what I have found working with so many artists inside the Art Next Level program, and as I travel and do workshops and so on, and talk to artists online as well now more than ever, is that you can take an idea that somebody else is doing and then run it through the filter of those three variables and adapt it, just adapt it, make some changes, make some variations, so that idea then becomes unique to you, because it becomes unique to who you are, where you are in the world, and what you make. And that's something that I have, for example, tested that when, the last 7-8 years I've been doing at the end of the year inside my program, the Artist Next Level, I've been doing what maybe you have heard of it or you've been participating, the Small Works Art Sales Challenge, which is kind of the idea that at the end of the year, when people are more likely to purchase gifts for themselves or for others, for the family members and so on, this idea of creating a series of small works that you present to the public. And then, each artist will work on that, will work on the marketing, how to get them out in the world and so on. And it has been very successful for me as an artist, and has been very successful for many other artists. For others, they have tried it maybe once and it didn't work and they give up. Others maybe didn't work and they tried a couple more times and then it worked well, right? And but it's something that you learn, you adapt, and then you continue improving it year after year. And that's the entrepreneurial mindset, right? Having that mindset that can help you see and find opportunities where everybody else, all they see is lack of opportunities, where all they see is, an uncertain future. And it's not that you are ignoring the realities of the world. You're just trying to find opportunities within these new realities, right? New ways of thinking, new ways of approaching the world through your work, and so on. So this is kind of like, at the top of my head right now. And I wanted to share that with you because I want to invite you to have that entrepreneurial mindset, to start thinking outside the box per se. Start thinking about what have I not done. Because I don't think the solution is, just do more TikToks or just do more Instagram or just apply to more shows. That's what we have been all doing for the last, 5 years, right? More of the same. And it is time to do other things. I know in my career, I'm doing other things which are working for me. And I shared, also with more detail inside the workshop. And, when you start thinking about that, then you start finding new possibilities. For me, I was kind of pushed into it as I moved to a new city. I moved to Florida, where, I was in Chicago. A year and a half, I moved here. And I've been really working hard to kind of like thinking, how do I find my people here, where I had my community and my people in Chicago, but now that I'm here, how do I find my people? How do I find my buyers, my collectors locally, and the support that I need locally, right? So that had pushed me in, thinking in entrepreneurial ways, to find new opportunities. And I'm very thankful that I've been able to do that. I'm always an optimist. I've always think there is something better. There's an opportunity for me on the other side of the mountain, on the other side of the obstacle, on the other side of the wall. I've always believed that, even in the darkest of moments. I've always been a person of faith that believes that there is hope, and that there's always an opportunity, right? Even when you open the news and all you see perhaps is problems around the world, I do see the same thing as you see, but I just, think of there's an opportunity. There's still opportunities for us as artists, even when people say, "Oh, nobody's buying, nobody's doing." Those are like big blanket statements. But while there is a reality in it, it's not the full picture. It's not all of it, right? There are people who are still buying. There are people who still love art. There are people who still would love to see your art, would love to see you succeed, would love to have something of yours. But we just got to be more creative on how we find them, on how we approach them, because the systems that exist, that we have been using for the longest time, are not as effective anymore. And it's not like sometimes you have to start totally new and do something completely whacked and totally different. you could, but also sometimes you can take an old system and change certain things, to fine tune it to the realities of today and do that. Sometimes a combination of things, kind of what you're doing in your social media versus what you're doing in person with your networks versus new ideas that you're putting together, so you create something new out of different pieces of what you have been doing in the past. So having said that, my friend, I want to invite you to this episode. I want to invite you to think about that. Think about the entrepreneurial spirit that you have as an artist, to find solutions to the problems that you are facing. And what a great way to do it also in community. Find your people, find your tribe, find other artists in the world and in your world, that can also have this mindset and work along with you, share ideas. So that's why I love the Next Level community, because all the artists who are there from around the world, we all want the same. We all want to succeed. We all want to see each other get better, succeed, and share with each other. So if you have not joined the Next Level, make sure you do, because we are there to help you. But if you want to take part of the next session of the Smart Artist Blueprint to Selling Art in a Challenging Market, I invite you to go visit our website. Depends when you listen to this podcast. I will be adding new dates as, I want to do it at least once a month. And you just go to theartistnextlevel.com/blueprint. Super easy. Just visit www.theartistnextlevel.com/blueprint. Right? The idea is that you have a blueprint for the next few months that can help you move ahead, that can help you find collectors, that can help you think of new ideas for marketing your art and moving forward. So I hope you join, and I hope you enjoy this little kind of chat about this is what I've been thinking about for the last week or so. And next week I'll come back and share it again, something I learned, something I've been thinking about as well with you. I hope you like this new series. Hope you enjoy it, and keep coming back to the podcast. It's gonna be good. So have a great rest of your day, my friend. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.